All right, hello and welcome to another episode of All Things Real Estate. And as always, I am your host, Kyle Seyboth, with Century 21 Real Estate, located in Seekonk, Massachusetts, serving Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. And guys, as always, we have a special guest with us today. And today we have Mr. Gregory Rice with, he gives himself a round of applause, with Nexus Property Management, right? Nexus Property Management. And Greg, just kind of explain to us, what does that mean? Like, what is Nexus and what's a property manager? What do you do?
The day-to-day operations.
Okay.
Rent collection, maintenance, evictions, leasing, accounting.
So to break it down so people can understand, if I own a property and I say, Greg, I need your help, man. I own a 6-unit property. I have 6 tenants, right? I have 6 separate tenants, but I can't manage it. I don't know what to do. I would call you. And you would collect their rent. Mm-hmm. You would take care of the toilet that doesn't flush.
Yep.
You would would you deal with evictions if they don't pay?
Absolutely.
You deal with evictions. Would you plow the driveway?
Absolutely.
Cut the grass?
Yep.
Plow the driveway, cut the grass. How about the hallway? It's all dirty. What do we do?
Vacuum every 2 months.
You'll vacuum it every 2 months. Now, what don't you do? What is the biggest thing that people are like, can you do this? And you're like, we don't do that.
We don't sell property.
Okay, you don't sell property.
Number one.
Yep.
Number 2 is we don't pay any of your bills.
That's a big one. Because
so we don't pay mortgages, taxes, insurance.
So you guys provide the service of managing the property on the outside. You do not pay their taxes.
Right.
You do not pay a person's mortgage, and you do not pay water, sewer, electric, any of that stuff.
Exactly.
No utility bills. Can I ask you why?
Because it puts us in a tough spot if we don't collect the rent and your mortgage is due.
Oh, good call.
So it's like an ethical.
Good call.
You know, do we stick our neck out for this single family that the rent might not come?
Good call. So you don't pay the mortgage. So that's actually, well, it's pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
So why pay their bills when you're not getting the rent from the tenants? Who knows?
Right.
So you, if anyone has seen in the last 12 months, it's been a full year now, right? So
Yep.
COVID kind of happened March 2020. We're March 2021. Mm-hmm. What would you say the percentage of tenants that have or have not paid?
20%.
20% have or have not?
Have not paid.
So 80% of your your tenant rent
Yep.
has come in.
Yes.
20% has not.
Correct.
What does it normally look like?
90 to 95% collection.
Really?
So it's doubled, almost tripled.
This is a big move.
Yeah.
So what are the landlords saying?
They're selling.
Yeah. Right?
That's
How often are you seeing landlords sell?
Every week we get one of our clients, hey guys, I can't take the bleeding anymore, sell. And they're getting good prices, so
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense.
So that's interesting. I didn't realize there were that many selling.
Yes.
Would you agree or disagree that the smart investor right now is selling?
The smart is buying, I think.
Always buying.
Always buying.
I agree with that.
But if you're underwater, then absolutely let it go because it'll kill you.
So I own a bunch of stuff myself, right? The biggest problem that I always have, when do I sell? Mm-hmm. Or do I sell?
Right.
And what's your answer to that? Like, what are your thoughts on that from an investment philosophy, right? When does it make sense to sell? When does it not make sense to sell? And is your philosophy just buy and hold and set and forget it?
It was originally.
Yeah.
But what I did was this. I got one property now, a 6-unit Woonsocket that's for sale, and Don Martone's doing it for me. So I bought it for $275, renovated it. I listed it for $638.9. I bought it a year and a half ago.
How much?
$638.9.
Whoa.
Yeah, steep. But people from Boston are calling saying,
because
hey, we want it.
it's all renovated.
So
How
I'm
many
picking
bedroom units?
2 beds.
Wow.
So I'm just picking off my best here and there, and then I'll take that 1031.
Is it rented?
Yeah.
Is it rented?
Yep.
Fully rented.
Fully rented.
So you'll take something like that, and you'll probably do the same thing I do. You'll say, on a net basis, I make this, right? So I'm bringing in, let's say, $1,000 a month. What do you net on that? Probably
2,000.
2,000? That's perfect. But like, let's say it's probably 1,500, right? Because it's not always going to be perfect.
True.
So 2,000, 1,500 a month. So you have to do the math and say 1,500 times 12, right? That's 18,000, right? It's 18,000. That, right? 18,000 is what I'm going to make every year. how many years would it take me to make, is that what you do?
Yeah, it would be
You have to, right?
20, 30 years.
Right, so, right, you're saying if I sell it at 6,
Yep.
it's gonna take me 30 years.
To break even.
So would you agree when the equation looks like that, it makes no sense to hold it?
No sense.
That's kind of where I'm at too.
But you don't want to sell all of it.
No, you can't
wanna
sell everything.
Cherry pick your best ones.
I think what you do, and what I've seen, and what some of my investors are doing, is you sell some and you upgrade the properties.
Correct.
You upgrade you go from CB stuff
Yep.
to AB stuff.
Yes.
Maybe you pay a little more, but at least it's a better property.
Yes.
And it's a lesser headache.
Correct.
So I've seen that a lot. I've actually started doing that myself, where I'm selling some of the stuff in like maybe Woonsocket, Central Falls, some of the Providence stuff, and buying Newport,
Yep.
Narragansett,
Warren, Bristol.
You may pay a little more,
Yep.
but I think it's got a little more, the ability for you to sustain value is there. Do you agree with that?
100%.
Also, I think you take some off the table, meaning take some of the capital and put it away for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think the market will turn, right? There's going to be value. There's going to be opportunities for people. So I don't know if you feel the same way, but don't invest all of it. Don't
Correct.
1031 everything.
Correct.
But sell some of your headaches,
Absolutely.
right? If the values are this strong, sell. So you've gotten interest in that 6 unit.
Oh, yeah. 10 showings. We listed it like last week.
Wow. That's wild.
That's great. I never would have thought in a million years that I'd be in
Why-
Woonsocket.
That's why I was laughing.
100K a unit in Woonsocket. I mean, you see that in the 2s, 3 families. But
That's different. Yeah, 2 and 3 family, I mean, those are definitely going over 100K a unit.
But
I
the
mean, in
commercial
Woonsocket.
stuff.
How many of your investors are selling and 1031ing versus selling and not doing anything?
We only have a couple that are selling right now, but they're all doing a 1031.
They were all just upgrading.
Yes.
Interesting. So if I were a new investor, right, and I said, okay, I want to buy my first 3 family, why would you recommend property management? What would be the reason for me to do it?
Most people are too emotional, as we were talking about before we started shooting, and they can't handle the adversity.
Right,
So when the shit hits the fan,
right,
they are unable to make the right play.
right.
And they make the wrong play, and then that spirals. So you need somebody that just knows the answers, that will protect you from failure.
Yeah, I mean, it's that go-between, right? It's kind of like that liaison between you. And I think personally, I don't want my tenants to know who I am.
That too.
Like for me, like I don't want the tenants to know, for whatever reason that is, just for privacy purposes, I would rather be shielded. And I think property management is one of the ways, and this is important, guys. If you're an investor and you believe in cash flow, you believe in appreciation, you believe in debt pay down, right? If you believe in all 3 of those things, but you're scared that people will know who you are and could do something, not that they would, but potentially could do something to harm you or your family, this is the shield.
Absolutely.
Now, granted, they can go on public records and figure out who owns it, but there's a way, it's a much harder, there's a bigger onion to peel back to figure out the owner, right?
Absolutely.
So I would make the case for that too. And some people, whether they're affluent, middle class, lower class, maybe you're not doing this because you're nervous. I've actually had buyers who lived in the unit, who use property management, and nobody knows they're the owner.
Yeah, they're just tenants.
They're just the tenants. Have you seen that?
Yep.
That's wild to me, but I think it's brilliant.
It's a great idea.
Now you're not there. You're one of them. You're one of the tenants, right? In everyone's mind, everyone's equal.
Yep.
And there's no preferential treatment.
Perfect.
And you don't have to deal with the tenant coming to you every time. They go to the property manager, and that's probably the best of both worlds because number one, the tenants aren't bothering you. But number two, with property management, one thing that you see, and you probably whether you want to agree with this or not, I'm going to call BS. Some property managers whack you over the head with fees on everything.
For sure.
Meaning, if there's a toilet that's leaking and doesn't need replaced, they may replace it. If there's a sink that's clogged and doesn't need to have a brand new sink, they may put the new sink in. Because the property manager, right, there's a spread between what it costs to do the job and what you pay to do the job, right? So that property manager makes that spread.
Yep.
So I think the beauty of being there is actually getting to put your eyes on it and understanding, and it kind of keeps that person in check.
For sure.
How many clients of yours have more than 20 units?
10.
10 have more than 20?
Yeah.
How many does your biggest client have?
Biggest client would be me, 70.
Okay. Okay. So 70 in your game plan. How many are you trying to sell by the end of the year?
Trying to sell 6 to 12.
That's it?
I'd like to hit 100 by the end of the year and 1,000 within the next 5 years.
How many of those are, how many of the 70 are actually your units
Mine. Yep.
versus, you know where I'm going with this? Like a subordination,
What do you mean?
where you actually own 5% of,
No.
none of that,
100% owner.
all owner.
Sole member LLC, they're mine. Don't bother me.
Because what happens is, and I see this all the time, oh, I own 2,000 units.
Yeah, you bought something online of a shopping center in
Correct,
Texas.
correct. You don't own anything. You just own a fraction of, you own 1% of 2,000 units.
Yeah, no, they're all mine.
That's what I like.
No
I'm a
partners. I don't like partners.
Me neither, not on holds. I'll partner on flips, I won't
Yeah.
partner on a hold. No way. But I think to your point, I don't believe, like you're not a true investor of real estate, in my opinion, if you just own some subordination
Yeah.
or some form of 5,000 units in Japan and you own 1% of it. Like, what do you really own? You've never even been there.
Right.
Now, granted, I have stuff like that I've done.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
It's just a capital thing.
Yeah.
It's a cash flow thing. But at the end of the day, that's not really owning units. Owning units is having the physical structure.
And learning.
Learning, being involved.
Yes.
Being on the day-to-day, understanding what that looks like.
Yep.
So you think sell off 12, net, so you want to net to 100, so 70 minus 12 is 58, you'd buy 42, you'd sell 12.
Yeah, and I'm going to buy others just conventionally. I'm not going to do them all as a 1031 exchange.
Right.
But I like to at least double whatever I sell as far as a 1031 exchange
Right.
goes.
Right. How hard are you finding to find stuff?
Extremely. Mm-hmm. It's almost impossible. I have to sell or finance, at least 3-4 houses a year. Mm-hmm. Just because that's the only way that you can really get to a closing table.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of the numbers are out of whack.
And I give realtors my commission. Mm-hmm. I'm a licensed agent in Mass, Rhode Island, and I just tell them, you represent me, you can double end it.
Right.
So I have to give that up too.
Right.
In order
to close.
To close.
Yeah, there's not a lot out there. But I think you find more. I've found more 5+ units.
Yeah, they're coming back.
There's more 5+ units than there are 4 and under, because the owner occupant can buy that 4 and under.
Right.
You'll never compete with that.
Right.
You don't even want to compete with that.
Right.
Those 3 families right now make no sense for investors. Unless you're buying on the east side, or you're buying in Oak Hill, or you're buying in near PC.
Right.
But in my opinion, those are tough.
It's impossible.
Those become really, really tough.
Yep.
What would be your advice be to a new investor? You got like 2 minutes.
Like for one,
I'm a brand new investor. I don't know what to do. What would you say?
buy a 4-family.
Okay.
They're rare. They're hard to find. They're annoying to find, actually. But they make the most sense because you can live in one, rent out the other 3. You buy a 3-family, you're just getting by. One vacancy, you're in the weeds.
So that's what people don't understand. They think if they buy a 3-family, like they're making millions of dollars on the rents.
Gotcha.
When you run the math,
You're losing.
you lose. Right. Yeah, you're living for cheaper. You're
Yeah.
definitely going to live for cheaper.
You're going to learn.
You're going to
etc.
learn. You're going to live for cheaper. But one person doesn't pay,
Yep.
you're in the red. Mm-hmm. Right? You're in the red. 2 people don't pay, you're in the red.
Right.
1 doesn't pay, you're black.
You're good.
All pay, you're in the green.
Yep.
I think that's a good call. That's a really good call. Now, a lot of buyers think they can buy like 5 and 6s, but they can't, right? Because obviously lending procedures. But at the end of the day, I think that's a good piece of advice. If you're a new buyer and you're a new investor and you want to get involved, live in 1 and rent 3.
Beautiful.
And I think that really gets you to where you need to be.
Absolutely.
So with that, anything else? What do you think for the rest of the year?
I think we're going to start to see more and more come on the market.
Uh-huh.
The supply will
When?
increase. Relatively soon. I mean, the CDC just extended the eviction
June,
moratorium
right?
till July 1st. So a lot of people that are hanging on by a thread can't hang on another 3 months. So this summer, I think, will pop.
That's a shame that they keep extending that.
It's crazy.
It's really not okay.
Tenants just taking advantage, even if they can pay.
They're just not paying. I looked at my ledger. We were $35,000 in arrears from payments.
Wow.
90 days or less. 35,000.
What
It's
is it
just-
normal?
7 to 8.
Wow.
5x. That's what it is. So as fun as this is, and as fun as
Buy
that is,
rentals.
buy rentals and eat it. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for thanks for coming on.
Thanks,
Appreciate
brother.
it as always. I think that was good advice, and we added a lot of value. But
Yep.
with that, we will see you all next week. Everyone have a great week.